This time we have a Picas that is only 4 years old, which has been working on a farm since it was purchased, and although it does not seem very dirty at first glance, its owner has tried to clean it and has removed some of the superficial dirt. As you can see in the video, it is clear that it has been used only for work, but the surprising thing about this Picas is that it has only 36,000 kilometers. As I mentioned before, they have tried to clean it and have removed some of the major dirt, but if we look closely at all the nooks and details of the car in the more hidden areas of the interior, it is clear that there is a lot of dirt. Of course, the owner, seeing that to clean it properly the bottom would require disassembling a lot of things, has not dared to do so. Once all this accumulated dust in this area is finished in my hands, even though it is a work car, if we blow it out from time to time, it won't end up getting embedded, and it would cost much less to do a thorough cleaning. The good thing about this car is that for a thorough cleaning it is quite simple since it is a version designed for work. This makes it very easy to disassemble and clean, but as you can see it has dust everywhere, and all of this needs to be removed to make it perfect. The engine part, as you can see, is not spared either, as it also lacks a good cleaning since it has dust and mud stuck everywhere. But well, working on the farm is what it is. As I told you, they had tried to clean it and brought me the car with the passenger seat loose. They had even disconnected the airbag wires, so all that was left was to remove it from the car. When removing the seat, it is noticeable that this area had not been vacuumed. So just imagine if this part that is not stepped on was this dirty, how would the rest of the car's carpet be? The rear seats of this car are very simple, as it is a version with a longer box that takes up space from the rear seats to provide this extra space, so they are very easy to disassemble. And since we have removed the seats from the car, we also took out the mats and took the opportunity to clean them, as they are made of rubber and are very easy to clean. The seats of this car, having covers, are not very dirty from stains or grime, but they have quite a bit of dust accumulated in the seams and in all parts of the guide, so we are going to give everything a thorough cleaning. These seats can be cleaned with the upholstery cleaner, but since they have so much dust, it would require many passes. Therefore, we are going to clean with degreaser and pressure water as we always do. We make a mixture of degreaser at 10% in a spray bottle and spray the entire seat completely, including the guide part. Now that we have good weather, the seats will be dry in a couple of days. By washing them this way, I guarantee that nothing happens to the seat and it looks much better than cleaning them with upholstery cleaner. Although you might think that the upholstery cleaner doesn't wet the seat, that's not the case. It also picks up moisture, but it does absorb some. However, I don't find it as effective as washing with high pressure water. It also depends on how dirty the seat is, of course. If what we want to remove is a stain, the upholstery cleaner is honestly the best option. But if we need to clean a seat completely, the upholstery cleaner has a lot of work and is not as effective. When we wash with pressure water, we have to thoroughly clean the entire seat to avoid leaving dirt behind. And we also need to rinse until the water runs clear and no dirt is trapped in the sponge. If we leave this dirt in the sponge, we will have odors, and then stains may appear, especially if water falls on the seat. The dirt we have in the sponge will cause a stain to form on the fabric. As you can see in the video, the cut shows how clean it is, but it's not very dirty, to be honest. I think we've cleaned seats in the channel that were much worse than these and had a lot more grime and were much more disgusting. When the seats are clean, I like to let them drain for about 1 hour and then use a wet vacuum or an upholstery cleaner to suck up as much water as possible. This speeds up the drying process, and if there is any remaining dirt, we vacuum it up, leaving the seat perfect. When a car is used for the field, having rubber mats is appreciated, as they are very easy to clean. To clean them, we apply a bit of degreaser, let it sit for a few minutes, and then use a drill brush to go over everything to remove the stuck dirt. After that, we just need to rinse with high pressure water, and the mats will look like new. Continuing with the car, we are now going to clear the carpet. As I imagine it will have quite a bit of dust underneath, we need to take it out of the car. But first, we are going to vacuum up the larger debris so we don't throw all this dirt onto the workshop floor when we remove the carpet, in order to successfully remove the carpet from the interior of the car. It is essential to first disassemble several components. These components include the side plastic panels, which are located on both sides of the vehicle, the central console that houses various controls and storage compartments, and the backrest of the rear seats, which provide support and comfort for passengers sitting in the back. Each of these parts must be carefully taken apart to ensure that the carpet can be removed without causing any damage to the car's interior. Well, backrest. This backrest has little support, as it is a plastic with a small padding. The plastics in this car are actually very easy to disassemble. The clips are of good quality, and the plastics as well. And although they disassemble easily, when they are mounted in the car, they fit well. As you can see, there is a lot of dust under the plastics, and this was to be expected. Since we cleaned it to make it look new, we shouldn't leave all this dust here. I don't know, it doesn't seem like a good cleaning if we leave all this here. It is also very easy to disassemble the center console. Inside the glove compartment, there are 2 screws covered with the mats that we will need to remove, and to take off the upholstery of the gear shift, we just need to pull it upwards and remove the knob by turning it. Once we have removed this, we will be able to take off the top part of the console, and we will have access to 2 more screws that are right below the climate control knobs. Now that all the plastics have been removed, we just need to take out a few small staples that are holding the carpet, and we will be able to take it out of the car. For those of you who are not used to disassembling a car, this may seem crazy, but I say this is one of the easiest carpets I have ever taken apart. The plastics come off super easily, and removing the carpet is also not complicated at all. As you can see, the more parts we disassemble from the car, the more dust appears. The thing is, there was a grommet removed from the floor, and a lot of dirt came in through there, which is why everything is like this. Since we want to leave this entire part of the floor very clean, we also remove the soundproofing materials so we can clean the floor really well. Since we have a lot of dust and loose dirt on the floor, before blowing everything, we are going to vacuum up everything that comes off easily, so we disturb less dust with the pressurized air. Now that we have vacuumed everything that can be easily reached, we need to remove all the short dust that is in hard to reach areas. To do this, since we are going to create a lot of dust, I put the car on the street so I don't fill the workshop with dust, as there was still a ton of dust hidden in a lot of places in the car. Here's the truth. To do the job 100% right, it would be best to remove the dashboard. But taking the dashboard out of this car is crazy. So since we're not going to disassemble it, what we need to do is get the blowgun into all the gaps we can, and blow out as much dust as possible, leaving all these areas as clean as we can. Once we have thoroughly blown out the entire car, we also blow out the insulation and the plastic on the backrest, which had a lot of dust, since the car in this area had 2 vents and a huge amount of dust had entered through there and stuck to all the plastic. The good thing about this car is that it hasn't gotten wet. If it had, all this dust would have turned into a lot of mud, and that would be much harder to remove. There is still some dust stuck to the floor, but before removing this, we will clean the mud from the frames. This could be done with pressure water, but we have some connectors right behind the frame that are very exposed and could get wet. And honestly, that doesn't appeal to me. So we are going to clean them with a spray bottle with degreaser and use a brush to remove all that mud. Once we have removed the mud with the brush, we will take a spray bottle with water and start rinsing the entire frame, washing the dirt down to the floor. And then, to finish, with a dry microfiber cloth, we will complete the cleaning of everything that remains in the frame. And with this, they turn out perfect. And it's something that anyone can do at home without the need for any tools, or anything out of this world. Notice that almost nothing has been cleaned from the car yet, but the parts that have been cleaned are greatly appreciated by the car, and it shows that this is a car that is relatively new and just needs a good facelift. As you can see, the frames look dull, and it's clear that the paint on the frames is perfect. For the areas that still have dust from the interior, we follow a similar process to the frames. We need to remove everything that is stuck and drag it down, and then use a cloth to give a final pass to remove all the dirt that remains stuck. In the areas of the floor where water accumulates, we can take the wet vacuum and start vacuuming all the dirt, giving it one last wipe with a cloth to remove any remaining residue. Since the pedals have mud stuck to them, we scrub them with a brush to remove everything that is embedded, rinse them with a little water, and dry them with a cloth, leaving them clean. The entire floor area is perfect and free of dust. Well, it might be a little short, but we have removed a large part. Now we are going to clean the ceiling area, which also needs a good touch-up, as it has quite a bit of dust stuck to it. To clean the ceiling, we are going to use my favorite tool, the tornado. With the tornado, we will give the entire ceiling a wet pass to effectively remove all the dust and stains it may have. Although it doesn't show much in the video, it was quite dirty, and besides the dust, it was also full of fly droppings, which were a bit more difficult to remove. This way of cleaning the ceiling cannot always be done. If it is a ceiling with foam padding that is already a few years old, we may cause it to come loose. One day I will make a video showing the different types of upholstery and how to clean each one of them. When we finish cleaning all the fabric, we will also clean all the plastics on the ceiling. So we leave the entire upper part clean. In the next step, we are going to clean the car doors, which also have quite a bit of droppings. On the upholstery, we have a lot of embedded dust. To clean the fabric, we apply the degreaser and scrub well with a brush, and then we use a cloth to remove the dirt and take out the fabric. On the panel part, when we have textured plastic, I like to apply the degreaser and scrub a little with the brush to clean the plastic well. Here, so you can notice the difference, I have done a little test, since at first glance the panel didn't seem that dirty, but as you can see it also has quite a bit of droppings. When we are cleaning areas with many nooks or areas with buttons, removing dirt from those parts sometimes isn't enough with just a brush, but with a little compressed air, all those gaps can be cleaned quite easily. To clean the speaker grill, which is a complicated part, we do the same. We first remove everything that comes off easily, and for what we can't remove with the cloth, we use compressed air. With this cleaning method, as you can see, the panel looks like new, and I think that as you have seen how I cleaned one door, the rest showing before and after is more than enough, so I won't make the video longer. Now it's time to clean the dashboard of the car. You know, this part requires quite a bit of work, as it also has a lot of dirt, trapped in hard to reach areas. But well, you all know that here we can handle anything, that we are not afraid of anything. One of the areas that accumulates the most dirt in a car is everything we touch with our hands, and the proof is in this steering wheel that shows a brown color. To remove the grime when it is very stuck, it is best to brush it a bit first and then use a cloth to wipe everything away. On the steering wheels, since there is a lot of dirt that gets removed afterwards, I always give it another pass with degreaser and a cloth, and that way I make sure it looks perfect. On the steering wheels, there is a part that often goes unnoticed, and it is the area that collects the most dirt, where we place the tips of our fingers. When you clean your car, check this area, and if it has dirt, leave it in the comments. Just like we did with the door panels. The final pass is done with the tornado to blow everything out well and remove any dirt that may remain in the gaps, ensuring that everything is perfect. The air vents are one of the dirtiest parts in cars that are otherwise clean, and this is because it is a very difficult area to clean, but with my method, they come out looking new. Here we apply the degreaser and use a brush to scrub well on the inside, and then we use air to remove everything that we can't get off with the brush, leaving it perfect. When cleaning areas with many buttons, care must be taken when applying liquid. We can do it, but without overdoing it. If moisture were to get inside, we would have to disassemble everything to dry it properly and avoid any issues. Now that the dashboard is all clean, there is something that looks very ugly, which is the dashboard that is full of dust inside and also has a super scratched screen. And as you already know, I don't think things through much, so we're going to disassemble it to clean it well and polish the screen so that it looks perfect. Removing the dashboard is also easy, just like everything else we've taken out of the car. I must say I was surprised. There are cars where you have to remove the steering wheel to take out the dashboard, but in this car it comes out perfectly and is really simple. By removing the aging component, we take out the 4 screws that the dashboard has, and even the cables are spaced out enough to be able to remove them easily. There are some that come up very short, and you have to reach your hand between the dashboard and the dashboard of the car, which makes it quite difficult to remove. Now that the dashboard is disassembled, the first thing we are going to do is clean all the dust on the outside, so that when we disassemble it, this dust doesn't fall inside. Now we need to disassemble the transparent part, which is also very simple. We just have to remove a few small clips it has, and we can take this part apart. First, we are going to polish the screen, and here in the video, since the scratches are not noticeable, we will first make a small cut with masking tape, and I will polish one part so I can show the before and after. This type of plastic is the same as that of car headlights, and we will polish it in exactly the same way. The type of polish I am using is cutting polish, just like I used to polish a car to remove the deeper scratches. Now I believe that you can see the difference between the scratched part and the polished part, and that's just with one pass of polish. And now that you've seen the difference, let's take the polisher and give it a thorough pass to remove as many scratches as possible. For the dials, we only need to remove the dust. And to clean this, we will use glass cleaner, as it contains alcohol which evaporates and leaves no marks or residues. If you don't have my brand of glass cleaner, you can use alcohol. When cleaning this part, since we have the car's needles, we need to be careful not to move them, as we could miscalibrate them and then the car won't display the speed, revolutions, or temperature correctly. Once we have cleaned all the dust, we use a little compressed air to remove anything that might be left, and then we can reassemble the dashboard. For now, we are not going to install the dashboard in the car, and we are going to clean the entire area where the dashboard was, since, as expected, there was hidden dust here that I couldn't blow out before, no matter how hard I tried. There is another part of the car that looks super ugly and super scratched, and it gets touched with dust and dirt, and that is the screen of the radio. We are going to polish this to make it look nicer. The correct approach would be to completely disassemble it and polish the screen while fully disassembled, but that would take several hours of work, so we are going to give it a quick pass with the polish to enhance it, which as you can see makes quite a difference. Now we are going to remove the dirt from the seat belts, which is quite a lot. As compared to the black dashboard, the belt looks brown. To clean it, I always like to do it this way, as it cleans everything completely and looks the best. I know many of you tell me in the comments to take it out of the car and use high pressure water when we are washing the exterior of the car, but there is a part that stays inside and needs to be cleaned by hand, so for me, that means double the work. As you can see, what I do is put it in clean water and add degreaser, letting it soak for a while until the dirt comes off the belt. Here, I also took the opportunity to remove the belts from the center of the rear seats and put them in the bucket with water. Once we have let it sit and removed the dirt, as you can see, the color of the water changes, and then we just need to dry them, and they will be clean. And as you have seen, since I cleaned this one with the rest, we will do the same process. I know that many of you have tried this and have told me privately and in the comments that this method works. To clean the car carpet, since we have it disassembled, we will clean it with high pressure water, ensuring that we remove all the dirt that is embedded in it. The first thing we are going to do is apply a degreaser, so that all the stains will come off more easily when we use the pressure water. Since we have removed the bulk of the dirt with the pressure washer, we are going to apply foam all over the carpet and brush it well with the drill, thus finishing the removal of all the dirt. After that, we will just need to rinse everything and remove the foam. Once we have the carpet clean, we can take it out in the sun to dry quickly, and then we can put it back in the car. If you notice, there are some parts of the car that look perfect when we clean them, like the carpet for example, and we must remember that the car has only 36,000 kilometers. With that mileage, the car should be spotless. Now for the interior, we only have to clean all the plastics that we removed to clean the carpet. We are going to take them to the car wash area where I wash the cars outside, and we will clean them here. We are going to clean all of this here because it will make it much easier. What we are going to do is apply degreaser and use high pressure water. If the plastic is very large and does not move with the high pressure water, we can use the machine while it is running. However, if the plastic is small, the water pressure may not push it around and it could get scratched, so we can stop the machine and use the pressure that comes from the hose. When we encounter plastics that appear to be dirtier than usual, we take a few specific steps to ensure they are thoroughly cleaned. First, we apply a generous amount of degreaser to the affected areas. This helps to break down any stubborn grease or grime that may be present on the surface. Next, we use a brush to scrub the degreaser into the plastic, making sure to reach all the nooks and crannies where dirt might be hiding. This scrubbing action is crucial as it helps to dislodge any particles that are stuck to the plastic. After we have thoroughly scrubbed the area, we proceed to rinse it with clean water. This step is important to wash away both the degreaser and the loosened dirt, leaving the plastic surface clean and free of any residue. Finally, we focus on cleaning the upholstery of the handbrake, ensuring that it is also free from any dirt or grime. By following these detailed steps, we can effectively clean the plastics and upholstery, restoring them to their original condition. And we are going to make the change in the sink, which is easier since we need to clean the inside well, and also clean the seam, which is white. We use a little degreaser and scrub it well with a brush, then rinse it with tap water, and it turns out perfect. We also take the opportunity to clean the knob, which also has quite a bit of grime from being touched with hands. Here, as you can see, everything is cleaned in detail, including the tool bag. Now that everything is clean, we also assemble the dashboard. Now we just have one detail left, which is to apply the dashboard polish to restore the color to all the plastics and protect the interior. To apply it, we put a small amount on the sponge and spread it over all the plastics of the car. Once applied, with a clean cloth, give all the plastics a wipe. Like this, we spread the product well in areas where it hasn't been applied and remove the excess, achieving a natural shine and ensuring the plastics are protected. When we have finished with the dashboard polish, we can reassemble the upholstery. And to get the inside ready, we will also install the carpets. Finally, after several days of work on the interior, we move on to the bodywork. The first thing I always like to do is clean the engine, but in this case, we have a lot of mud stuck on the wheel, and we are not going to remove the mud directly. Instead, we are going to shake it a bit so that before we start applying water to the car, this mud doesn't get wet, as it will be harder to remove later. So now that it is dry, with a few knocks it falls into the engine of the car. As you can see, we have more of the same, dust everywhere. This is something that I like to keep clean, or at least a bit more decent, and I believe that the cleanliness of the engine says a lot about the care you have for the car. Here, as we are going to apply water, we remove a terminal from the battery to avoid any problems and start applying the degreaser everywhere. Here we can use the degreaser in a more concentrated form. We can use it at 50%, 60%, or even 100%, depending on the amount of dirt we have in the engine. When we have left the current degreaser, we start with the pressure washer to remove all the dirt. If dirt remains after the first pass, we repeat the process on those areas. When we have the engine clean, we let it drain for a while and then use compressed air to dry all the electrical parts and any areas where water might get trapped. To finish cleaning the engine, we take plastic polish and apply it to all the plastic areas of the car. And with this, the cleaning of the engine would be ready. The truth is that it takes very little time. As long as the engine doesn't have too much excess grease, this, like a new car, doesn't have any results and is quite fast. Now we are going to move on to the body of the car, and as always we will do a pre-wash on the wheels, which are usually the dirtiest part on the outside. As you can see, the wheels have a somewhat strange color, and I thought they were pitted and rusted, but it turns out that what they had was a layer of mud. However, this layer of mud was not the normal kind. It had turned into something like clay, and it was almost impossible to remove. As you can see in the video, I even used the drill brush, and after almost 30 minutes of scrubbing, I couldn't finish removing it, and this is because the mud was crystallized. So the quickest option to remove this clay is with strong water. And this really worked to dissolve the mud and remove it. If you ever encounter a wheel like this and need to use something strong, you must be careful since it is an acid, and we need to protect ourselves and be cautious with some parts of the car. As you can see, the wheels look perfect, and for the rest, the first step is to rinse with water to remove everything that comes off easily, and then apply the strong water. One thing that strong water did not clean was the cover, so here we applied a bit of degreaser and used a pressure washer. Now that we have the wheels clean, we move on to the body. Since this car has a bed, we will start here. As the car is flat in the washing area, we will empty the rear wheel so that it tilts and the water can drain from the bed. To remove the dirt from the box, we first apply a coat of degreaser everywhere, let it sit for a while, and then use a pressure washer to remove all the dirt and stains. In the next step, we are going to apply the body shampoo with the battery-powered icophone, and we will brush it all well to finish removing all the stains. And with this, we would have the box clean. It is a little scratched and worn from use, but at least it is clean. For the body part, we also have mud stuck to the sheet metal, so we are going to do a cleaning similar to the one we did on the box. Therefore, we are going to apply degreaser all over the body. Then, with the pressure washer, we will thoroughly clean everything to remove as much yellow as possible, and any areas that may have dust in all the joints, in the parts of the headlights, in the badges, wherever it may be. So we will carefully use the Karcher to remove all that dirt. Once we have done the pre-wash with the degreaser, we will take our foam sprayer and spray the entire car completely, including the wheels and the wheel arches. Then we will scrub the entire body with the brush. And if I am scrubbing with a brush on the body, thinking that this car is super scratched, it is super matted, so no matter how much we scrub with the brush, we are not going to cause any damage. And finally, we dry the body of the car with our squeegee and finish drying everything with a towel, and we would have the metal part ready. To finish the exterior, we are going to apply the tire shine in the wheel wells and on the tires. We will prepare it at 10% in a sprayer and apply it directly to the tires and the wheel wells. With the same mixture, we will apply it to the bumpers of the car and the exterior plastics, allowing it to evaporate a bit before wiping it off with a dry cloth, thus restoring the color to the bumpers. And now, yes, indeed, the final part of the cleaning on the windows.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no, you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need.